questions, okay?
Bob, first I want to say thank you so much. One, for the honor to have this conversation with you, but also to have the honor of carrying the torch of Talking with Heroes. And as the founder of Talking with Heroes and spending the last 19 or 20 years talking to veterans, telling their stories to the community, I'm just really excited to learn more about you and really where you want this podcast to go and to continue to grow. So, spending 6 years in the Marine Corps and me spending the last 20 years helping veterans find employment, just as natural that the two of us would meet this way. And so I'm really excited. If you could you introduce yourself or reintroduce yourself to the audience? And then I would love to hear why you launched Talking with Heroes.
Okay. First, I'd like to thank you for your service, Simplify.
Hoorah.
Thank you for what you're doing now. Thank you for Vets to Industries. So my name is Bob Calvert. I was the founder of TalkingWithHeroes.com. It goes back quite a number of years. I had a daughter, and I was a single dad. Her name's Adrian, and I won't go into all the stuff before then because I was a single dad from the time she was 2. And so it was an honor to watch her grow over those years. And at 18 years old, we were by the way, I lived in Kansas City for 40 years. Go Chiefs, even though they might not be going more this year. I hope Patrick Mahomes gets better. So, okay. So yeah. At 18 years old, she had met a young man who was from Colorado Springs here. His dad was in the military. He grew up on Fort Carson, but they were in the same school in Kansas City. And so I saw them together a lot. And okay, like any dad, I'm asking questions, concerned. And so he was in a uniform. And at that time, I didn't know anything about the military at all. I had successful business, a trucking company in Kansas City. I was real big in Herbalife for a long time, built a huge organization. I was on the Millionaire team. And so I talked to him. And then next thing I know, my daughter is telling me, Dad, I think I'm going to go in the military. And I'm looking at her, I'm going, what? You have 2 years free college. You've earned it. You just got promoted to manager in your job. And that's what she did. And of course, I ended up in the recruiting station. And I could say other things, but I won't. I'll just leave them alone. It's not here.
We all have those recruiting stories. So any veteran knows exactly what you're talking about.
It's an ex. Okay. Mm-hmm. She wasn't very happy. And so, and I'm sitting there watching all this going, okay, now what do I do? What happened to parenting at all? And then she ended up going to basic training in Fort Leonard Wood. And I remember going down there, driving south, sitting in the audience, and I see my daughter come across the stage all, I'm going, wow, look at her. And so I got to talk with her because she was being shipped off to Fort Riley, right, a little bit. And I could see the differences. She talked about how neither one of us had ever shot a gun in her life, but yet she excelled at it. All she did is what they taught her to do. That was it. And she was really good at it. And so she's off Fort Riley. I go back to Kansas City, trying to figure out what do I do now? At that point, I wasn't in Herbalife anymore. And I was kind of figuring out, I've always had successful businesses, including in sales and trucking. And so about a year goes by, and I get a call from her telling me her Fort Carson unit, by the way, that's in Junction City, Kansas, those that don't know, her unit was being deployed. And that was real early on in Iraq. And I'm going, what? Because I had been told at that time, if I remember right, they weren't putting women in combat situations that early on. And I'm just going, oh no, so I called some friends. One of them had a nice van, and I gave away all the furniture in my house to this couple across the street, a couple that was a mom and 4 or 5 children. Um, she told me her husband had committed suicide and they didn't have much furniture in their house. And I thought, God's amazing, right? Now she does. And she does everything. And I took what I could in my friend's van and I moved into a little hotel, a motel, I think it was called, in Junction City.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to be there just to support her, be there. And then she ended up not being deployed. They found out something at their final training when they were going to get deployed. It's a health problem. And they decided she wasn't deployable. But she served our country.
Mm-hmm.
And I was real proud of her. I was proud of it, what I saw. So I decided to stay. Her later on husband was being deployed from Fort Riley. And so he was gone he'd been deployed. So that was a 12-month deployment. Mm-hmm. And so I moved into an apartment there. I was the only civilian. And people would, once they got used to seeing me, I had a cat, Rainbow, lived 21 years, followed me. I kept him follow me around all those years. And so they got to know me and they'd say, well, what are you doing now? Okay. I mean, I got all this business experience and sales and training and trucking. And then he would say to me, why don't you give us a voice? I had no idea what they're talking about. I was just getting on the internet. I'm non-tech at all, completely. I'm just, I don't even remember how this happened now because was later on, we'll talk about, I've got all these health issues, including memory loss. And I don't remember, but somehow this Special Forces soldier contacted me and from Fort Bragg. That's all the way on the other side of the country. And he's telling me, he's saying, look, Bob, why don't you come out here, meet my soldiers? So I figured, sure, she's on base, I'll go. And so I drove across the country and get into Fort Bragg. It was pouring rain. I couldn't see hardly anything. I didn't know how to find the building they were in. And so I just found a way to pull over and call them. I said, you can't see, can you? I said, no. They said, where are you? What do you see? And they found me, brought me in. He was about the same height as me. Everybody else was much taller, right? And the same thing happened. He said, give us a voice. And then he started talking about, at that time, it was just the internet, right? And so he taught me what to do, how you get people connected to you, to come up with a name. So I came up with Talking with Heroes. And so I started doing interviews. I made a little DVD book of some of the veterans, including my son-in-law, ex-son-in-law, and thinking that at least I can raise money doing that, right? But everybody wanted me to send them one. And now DVDs, nobody even has one.
Yeah. It was like so, aging the program a little bit.
Yeah, the aging of me. Anyway, so I got a call from Major General.
Right? Huh? Was it a colonel that called you?
Major General from Iraq. I'm going, where are you? He said, Iraq. He said, we're with the Minnesota National Guard, the Red Bulls. Well, I had no idea what he's talking about, right? And he said, can you interview some of our soldiers? Well, I didn't know if I could or not. I found out I could. I heard later there was 36,000 people listening. There was a bunch of them. And then halfway, not even halfway, 2/3 through, he said, Bob, you ought to bring Talking with Heroes over here. And I'm going, sure. I remember getting off and thinking, what? No, I'm going in a war zone. I'm in good shape because of my trucking business, right? I could drop and do 20 push-ups, single push-ups, and I was in very good health. And I didn't think he was calling me back, but he did. And so, again, there's a memory loss here. I don't remember how this happened, but the CEO of Altitude TV, which is in Denver, they're on cable, a lot of sports stuff. Jim, oh God, Jim, if you're listening, I'm sorry, last name. He happened, and again, I don't know how we got together. He happened to have a daughter and a son in Iraq one Marine, one Army. And he said, let's go together. And so I didn't know anything about cameras, filming, nothing of that, right? I'm doing interviews over my phone, right? Now I'm going to hold a mic. And so we meet, and the people at Minnesota National Guard, I remember they met us in Kuwait. We went on the Dallas, on the other side of the Dallas airport was the military side. So we went on with all the troops going over there. And so mainly what we did there was Minnesota National Guard. I think I have some of my tapes here, videos. I can show you pictures. I think one was a Marine unit. And then we filmed, and then I got the tapes, and I didn't know what to do with them. And New Life Church here in Colorado Springs, I had a friend there that ran the production studio, and he said, come on out here. And so he sat me down in one of the computers, showed me this program you use, and so I got him on the YouTube, and a YouTube channel, not mine anymore, yours. That's Two Industries. And I ended up going back twice in 2007. Once was with the same Minnesota National Guard unit, Red Bulls. That was a period, you remember probably, whoever had this brainchild have not just 12-month deployments, but 15-month deployments.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right. So we're sitting there. I want to interview at some point, okay, if you'll let me. Anyway, so we're sitting there late at night along the Syrian border, and he's on this computer, and he's talking to his wife back home. Some of the other soldiers are waiting, and the wife says to him, I think it was Major Bastion. Oh, I didn't get that wrong. Anyway, his wife is there saying, honey, we just heard on the news that you're being extended. So they had the distinction of having the longest deployment in a combat zone of a National Guard unit. But watching them was amazing to me. So we get up, they were shocked. Like, we're packed. We're ready to leave, right? And then next morning, he had all these things planned for me to film, right? And their whole personality changed. They're not worried about it anymore. We're just here for 2 more months, 3 more months now. And I think at that time we were with a Marine unit. I actually have some of the DVDs I could show you at some point on Film It. So I ended up going back twice. I also got badly dehydrated on one of those. And but I came back again. There was a lot of tapes. I had to process them all. And I really thought, I can't do this anymore. This is not helping me at that point. I'm 59 and going into a war zone, wearing the body armor, the whole 9 yards. You had to. The first time I went over, I think it was a colonel said to me, if you're going to do this again, sir, you do not want to dress as a civilian because you're going to become a target. You probably know what I'm talking about too, as an American and of the terrorists. So I had got all the, military stuff, had my name on the front, Calvert. And so I didn't go back again for a while. I started going to veterans events, setting up a camera, different camera than I have now. And I would do interviews. I would film speakers. There was a group back then, I think it was R2 Alliance. It was going to become a group of support groups all supporting each other. And then I met back then Patty Bader with Soldiers Angels. She was the founder. She had 2 sons in Iraq, and one day some of their soldiers said, hey, can we get care packages like this too? And so they told her mom, so she started sending care packages. And if you know the story of Soldiers Angels, it'd be another good program on Talking with Heroes on Vets Two Industries, by the way. I can tell you who to call. And it just spread. They're all over the country now. And I remember once I was at a Soldiers Angels event near Walter Reed.
Mhm.
Actually got to go out to Walter Reed. I was asked to come out there. And I interviewed the new commander. He took me to the hospital wing, and I didn't feel comfortable about it, but soldiers are coming out of their room. But they said it was okay. So I interviewed them, and then a call came in. Not sure if I'm getting all this right time-wise, but a call came in to Patty at Soldiers Angels from Microsoft. And back then, they were having an event once a year where they'd bring soldiers from Walter Reed and another hospital there onto Amtrak into New York City. And they said, "Can you spare Bob Calvert?" She asked me, and I said, "Sure." I haven't been on Amtrak for years. I was raised in New York, right? And so I go on, and I'm walking in the train with the camera, and those that said yes, I'd ask them to say who they are, how long they served, anything they wanted to share. And then we get to Grand Central Station, and I hear they're going to Times Square. I go, no, you do not want to take them to Times Square. I hadn't been back there in over maybe 15, 20 years. So Times Square was not a place that you really wanted to go back then in my younger years. But they just totally, as we got there, I'm looking around and going, what the heck did they do? It's nice. And then huh?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I remember what was that, the 80s or so, 90s, where New York had a hard time.
I don't remember the year right now.
When you left?
There was a mayor there, Rudy, what was his name?
Rudy Giuliani?
Yeah. Apparently, he just cleaned that up. There was no more prostitution. There was no more drugs. Nobody was getting robbed anymore. And all these new places opened up. And they had some of the buildings I'm watching as we're driving in, they are, right? And I'm watching on the side of buildings, all these big advertisements. I had no idea how they did it. And my nickname, by the way, was Non-Tech Bob. So we get in and we go into, I can't think of the name. It's like a club, but it was bigger, nicer. And I got to interview back then all the executives at Microsoft. None of them it's kind of like me with Talking with Heroes now. I'm not Talking with Heroes anymore. Somebody else is. That's two industries. Yep. Well, I met all their executives. They're all gone. But also James Brown. I don't know if you're a football fan. He was
I didn't know what James Brown.
Yep, he's a famous football player. Now he's one of the announcers all the time. And so he's a lot bigger than me. So I'm holding the mic like this, looking up at him. And we both start laughing. Miss Teen USA. Anyway, I did that, came back. I had some other events I went to. I did stuff in Colorado Springs. I started organizing with the local military support groups, inviting them to come to a certain place. I had my camera set up, say who they are, what they're doing, and then we also would invite military, but I never got to do as big as I wanted to like a bigger event, but I did a lot of that.
I find it's amazing how passion for a purpose can grow something, because that's your whole story. Is it wasn't like there was a specific plan of attack.
No,
it was, I'm following my purpose. People are seeing it. They're asking, I'm helping, I'm giving, I'm helping, I'm giving, I'm helping, I'm giving, I'm helping, I'm giving. And it just continued to grow.
Yeah.
So and then you came back the final time, right? Was 2010?
2009. I got a call from Fort Carson because I'm here, right? Near Fort Carson. And they said, are you going to bring Talking with Heroes back over here? And I'm thinking to them, I'm going, I'm feeling a lot better. Sure. So I ended up, as soon as let me show you something real quick. Mm-hmm. Oh, gee, we're too fast.
Oh, there you go.
Remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Civilians had to wear these, reporters. Anyway, so as soon as I guess
So
it
it
was
was
DOD or
2009,
something.
2010,
Yeah.
right? You
Well,
went back to Iraq.
as soon as they found out I was going back over, they started setting up other units for me to go to. And so in 2000, and I went twice in 2010. I had to raise money, hired a videographer, had to, make sure he really knew what he was doing. Or one was a she. They were all veterans. They were all excited about going over. Again, I knew nothing about operating a video camera. It was me with the mic. Anyway, so in 2010 we went over the first time, and this time it wasn't just Iraq. So we'd fly again from Dallas in the military plane into Kuwait. Then again, I knew how to get these tickets for my people that were with me, and then we'd get picked up by a public affairs officer, go into Iraq. My favorite was the helicopters, right? So anyway, C-130s anyway. So we go in, and we went from one place to another all over Iraq, including Fort Carson soldiers. But I've been with, I don't know how many National Guard soldiers from different states, Navy, Air Force, obviously Army. I have something I want to ask you too, if you remember, if you were over there. Anyway, so then I come back, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do this again. Then there was a lot of videos to process. I went back the second time in 2010, different Fort Carson units, 4th ID. Colonel Randy George, he pretty much organized everything. No, actually, anyway, he's a general now. And then Colonel McLaughlin was the garrison commander at Fort Carson. And years later, I'm out at Mount Carmel Veteran Service Center meeting him. I didn't know who he was, other than he was executive director. It's the biggest veteran support group, everything in this area. They're just unbelievable what they do. And so I got to meet him, but I was having a lot of problems. Memory loss. I'm sitting here. I had no idea who he was. And he said, "Bob, you don't know who I am, do you?" I said, "Well, you're executive director. You're a veteran." He said, "I'm the one that approved everywhere you went with Fort Carson soldiers."
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And so I went back the last time, late 2011, got back. I'm 65, but we did the same thing. Kuwait, Iraq, Kuwait, Afghanistan, Kuwait. I got all the videos processed, got them on the YouTube channel that you all know have. Is it still the same name?
Yes.
Okay, youtube.com/BobC9246. There's 553 videos. A high percentage of that are videos that I have been told. I was told by an ABC crew in Kabul, Afghanistan. I've been told by many people. What I did, the media didn't see as news. And last I checked, which is almost a year ago, I think there was close to 700,000. There may be a lot more now. And so, but I get back, and I knew before I got back, I had some problems. I was going to have to deal with them. But at first, I got all the videos up. I got all that done. Wasn't sure what I was going to do next. I ended up with 7 surgeries. My foot, I had 3, these lumps on the bottom of my foot. And it was from, I'm used to wearing like jogging shoes, comfortable shoes, not combat boots.
Yep.
Yep. And so it was a problem. I had ended up 3 foot surgeries. The last one, they messed up. So I have a go-go sports scooter here. It's how I get around now. It's like a wheelchair with 4 wheels. Unfortunately, it doesn't work much in cold weather, so I'm kind of grounded here right now. The battery starts dying.
You're not 4-wheeling in 6 inches of snow?
What?
You're not 4-wheeling in 6 inches of snow with that thing?
I've gone out with it after snow, but then one time I was sorry I did because I couldn't move it in the snow. And I can't even do 1 push-up now. These surgeries have taken a toll on me, but part of it was
By the way, Bob, we only have about 8 more minutes.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that you're able to talk about anything of, hey, your hopes of where you want this podcast to go.
Okay.
Or any, you know what I mean? Like statements that are really important to you.
Okay. I got a message on LinkedIn one day from Robert Irvine. I believe he's a colonel, but he may have been higher, with Irvine Robert Irvine Foundation. They're doing amazing stuff, helping veterans and so much more. And he was really kind about it. People knew online, I have stage 4 cancer. It spread in my bones and my bone marrow, and I was not doing well. And he said, you may want to start thinking about finding a national company or a national military, a nonprofit, to take over everything. That was hard to do that, but I did. I met Han Walsh, the owner of Signal Health Group, that I guess, and Vets 2 Industries. My daughter met. I was so impressed. I told her at that point, I'd like to do an interview with you for people to hear about her, how she was born in Vietnam, and her story is amazing. And the company she's built, front page magazines about her. But anyway, so I did that. I turned everything over. And so things I'd like to see happen, obviously all the social media that I built, LinkedIn, we had, I think it was over 9,000. I'd like to see them reactivated. Maybe this go on there so people that wondered what happened to me, now they can find out. Yeah. And then from that point on, you all completely take it over. All the videos you do go on there. All the social media I had, including Twitter, I guess it's called X now. Anyway, and the website, whenever it's ready to relaunch, I'm looking forward to seeing that. One of my visions was to have Talking with Heroes become like a coalition of military veteran support groups across the country. I ended up interviewing probably 300 or 400 of them over the years, many of them. I wish I could do more.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be on the air with you all. I'll just be honest. I just found out. I found out 4 weeks ago. My cancer doctor told the insurance company that they asked for a medical form. He said I had maybe 6 months to live because it's done damage. I deal with pain all the time, all over. It's in my bones, my marrow, and then my spine. And I had a caregiver for 8 months. She's a military spouse, first time. Unfortunately, she's not here anymore. Her husband got deployed and they decided she'd go down by Fort Bliss. And she literally saved my life. And I didn't really think I needed a caregiver. But I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm meeting with this lady with this company. I try to get people that have something to do with the military. Just some commonality. But I'm looking forward to seeing what you're all going to do. I follow you with Vets 2 Industries on LinkedIn, and I wish I had heard about you when I was still filming, because I would have been interviewing you all. Anyway,
well, I can tell you, for me, my background, which I didn't really share at the beginning. I grew up in a village of 300 people, about an hour south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Joined the Marine Corps as an opportunity to earn my college degree, and was a truck driver, automatic rifleman. And I felt like I did everything right. I went and served my country, I earned my degree, and I couldn't find work. And I got into this industry 20 years ago by happenstance. And so my passion is about getting that message out about, hey, what service makes to a human.
Yeah.
It makes us high-performing humans, morally due north, honorable people that want to invest in others.
Right.
And so that's what makes me so happy about taking this messaging and carrying it on for you, is because it started that way. It started about showing the humanity and the humans behind these actions and what happens to these people, not only while they're there, but afterwards. And so that, to me, is probably the greatest. That's my mindset moving forward. So I wanted to share that with you.
I want to thank Carmen too. She's on here too, Carmen.
Our producer, Carmen, behind the scenes, making it happen.
Yeah, she's a veteran. She's helped me a lot. I've enjoyed the emails I get because it tells me soon I'm going to see this continuing, whether I'm here or not. I'd like to see the videos, not just 700,000, but millions and millions and millions. And also to the military bases where I was with their units. These videos, they can be used as training. It isn't something I made up. This is something actually as it was happening. And so.
Well, that's it, because, what I do for a living is I help veterans get work. And if we can help those civilians that haven't walked the walk, really truly understand, what that sacrifice is like and really what is happening and see us as humans, I think that helps everybody.
All right.
And that's why I really enjoyed the content that I've watched so far on your website, on YouTube, is that it's all that way. It's all purpose. It's all transparent.
Right.
It's all honest. And that's what makes it so great.
Yeah. Something else I'd like to see happen, and it's because I've seen so many divorces. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. I went through it, family. I believe in the sanctity of marriage, period. Right? And I'd like to see a series of programs. I don't know if that's possible, but I have a title for it. I woke up in the middle of the night with this: marriages, divorces, crisis in America, ? I've been told by a colonel, retired, there's as much as seven, I think he said 700% of marriages end up in divorces. It's like, what? What happened to the sanctity of marriage? And I talked a lot about this with my caregiver. I had it for 8 months. Her husband's in the Middle East somewhere. And I believe in that firmly, and nobody's doing that. Nobody's talking about it in the media. That's a crisis. When you have children in these families, all of a sudden they're living in 2 homes, and what's causing it? And I think the military, and I have ideas on what I'd like to do. They may not like me, but I think the military needs to step up and do more with the local community. And I have, my mind races with ideas. So
I'd love to hear them.
I'm excited to be talking to you.
Yeah, me too. I really enjoyed the conversation. I've enjoyed getting to know you over the last couple of weeks. And again, learning more about Talking with Heroes. I go on the website, I watch the videos, and I'm 100%. I'm married, 3 kids. I believe in it.
Congratulations.
And you're right. There is support well, I believe in the yin and yang, but also that support, when that veteran's out across wherever they're out, that home support needs support. That household 6 needs some care too. So I 100% agree. We could all do better. We're out of time now, but Bob, I just wanted to say thank you again so much. I feel honored to be a part of this and to be able to carry on the conversations. And it's my pledge to you that I will make sure that I keep that due north, military professional mindset first, that we get them to speak honestly and humbly about their experiences so we can show that to the rest of the world. And I just thank you for it.
When you process the video, make sure you put on there about Vets 2 Industries. Mm-hmm. As soon as I can, I will start promoting it here. Everybody I can remember.
Well, that's the key word. And again, it's like you mentioned it, stage 4 cancer. We all have this arc in this thing called life. And I will tell you that you've given yourself a very purpose-driven life. Your entire story is around purpose. And I just want to end this conversation on that. It's
thank you. God bless you. God bless everybody. God bless our men and women serving, and the 2 soldiers and their families that just died in Syria. Yeah, right. It's real, and we're putting ourselves out there. They're putting themselves out there every day. Yeah, no matter where they are. Yeah. So, well, Bob, I thank you again. I look forward to the next conversation. And me too. God bless you. Right. God bless you.